What up, Chicken Nuggets? Tyler here with Tarver Cards, Sports Cards Are Dope podcast. And I want to answer one of the most asked questions I get on my short YouTube videos, short YouTube videos, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, all those. And that is, why do I love SGC so much? And that's what I'm going to talk about. 5 reasons I love SGC in today's episode. Let's get it, baby. So, there are several reasons, but I try to narrow it down to just 5. I'm going to go ahead and, this is me giving any disclaimers because everybody likes to find like, oh, there's a real reason to conspiracy theory culture. You know what I'm saying? They were the first company I ever submitted to when I got into sports cards. Okay. It was easy. I sent in a bunch of Kobe Topps rookies. I sent in some Iverson rookies. I sent like 49 cards. I think I made a video of it. 49 cards that I sent in to SGC. Easy process. Got them back. Everything was cool. Like, everything was great. All right. And then the first time I sent to PSA, I sent like 5 or 6 cards, and they were only accepting like fast at the time. And so I had to pay like $150 per card. It was not as fun of a process. And the grades felt really random. Whereas SGC, it felt more narrowed, which I'll talk about as one of the reasons. It just was a better experience for me stepping into the hobby. It was easier and it felt more chill. That's my personal opinion. Okay. That being said, I have done collabs with SGC in the past. So you're like, well, you're paying. SGC's not paying for this. They didn't ask me to make this. They've never paid me any money. We've done collabs on stuff, but it was never like, here's your monthly check. Like, so you can take that into account. I didn't have to make this. This is just me saying it so that whenever people are like, why do you like SGC so much? I can just send them a link to this video. So here's why I like SGC. And I would love to know what your favorite grading company is and why they're your favorite. Throw it in the comments, okay? Because here's the deal. We don't all have to like the same grading company. You don't have to convince me. You don't have to. Like, it's like one of the things that bothers me most, because I love MJ, obviously, and I love LeBron, but one of the things that bothers me the most is that people think they have to bash one of them to bring up the other one. There's a quote, I think Gary Vee had it. It was about marketing, not sports cards, chill out. But he said, there's 2 ways to have the biggest building in town. 1, you can tear down all the other buildings, or 2, you can build the biggest building. And I love that quote because it reminds me, like, to be the best, you don't have to just tear down everyone else. They can both be good. PSA is really good as a grading company. It is. So is SGC. Both of those things can be true. They're actually owned by the same parent company, Collectors. So I think Collectors wants them both to be great. And so they can both be good. That being said, doesn't mean SGC doesn't have flaws. It doesn't mean PSA doesn't have flaws. Don't mean Beckett don't have some flaws. You know what I'm saying? They got some flaws. So all these grading companies have flaws, but you have to decide for you, which ones are you okay with in measuring the pros and cons of those companies, okay? So 5 reasons I love SGC. I'm sorry. That was my preface. That was my prologue. The interlude, that's not a thing. Prelude. There's a book I read in college, Prelude to the Deluge. That's why I keep thinking that. That's not a thing. That was talking about Europe between the wars because I was a history major, but you didn't ask for all that information. Number 1 reason I love SGC, the turnaround, lightning fast turn. It's like a Jordan scoring Kings, which is in a Beckett slab, but that kind of lightning fast turnaround compared to the other companies. You are, for me, normally, with the exception of like one time when USPS lost my cards, when I drop my SGC cards off in the mail, within 2 weeks, I have them back on my doorstep. Like, they were upset. Like, I think it was a while back, like 8-9 months ago. They were upset because they hadn't done like promos in a while. People were like, why don't you do a promo? And they were like, because we want to get our turnaround time. Right now it's at 12 to 14 days. We want it 5 to 10. One of the key things about SGC is they know that is one of their core missions is to get people their cards back. I don't want to send my card in and forget that I sent it in. Like, I want to be able to go on and see updates every other day. I don't want it sitting in the queue or in processing for a month, which has happened to me on cards with certain grading companies. I want my cards back. I like that it is not in their hands. I don't do a ton of flipping, but if I have a card of a player that is doing really well, you guys know if you're trying to sell that, you want to send it in, grade it, and get it back quick before that spike ends. Because those spikes, for most players, 98% of players, the spikes only last 2 or 3 weeks, and then it slows down again. People chill out. It's at that initial rush. And so whether you're selling or if you just want to hold your cards, you don't want someone else to have them, I think that is one of the main reasons I love SGC. I think that's great, and I love that it's a core value of what they do. Number 2, I think their pricing is much simpler, okay? $15, no upcharges. Like, I love that. I cannot stand when I send a card in and they're like, oh, it's going to cost this much. JK, it's too expensive. You got this much. So I don't want that upcharge in that process. Okay. That is annoying to me. I'm not a fan. Okay. If you're a fan of upcharges, cool. Good job. All right. Again, PSA has a lot of great things about it. I also don't like in the submission process for that is I don't like having to go in and, oh, sorry, dang, scammers, not scammers. What is it? Telemarketers call me. I don't like having to go in and when I'm trying to submit them, like I've got a stack of cards I want to send to PSA. I've had it sitting there for 10 months because I literally, it's literally been sitting there and I just keep pulling them out and sending them to SGC because I don't want to go through the process of inputting this because it's between this year and it's this year and it's an autograph, it's this. Like unless they've changed it, don't make like multiple systems to submit cards. Let me just go in and submit them all and throw them in there and then you figure it out and then upcharge me later, whatever. I just don't like the complexity of it. Make it simple for the collector. And I think I'm a pretty smart dude. Still bothers me, okay? Number 3, the slabs look clean. The slabs look dope. I like the black slab. I like the look of this Zebra 9, SGC 9, Jordan Poole Prism rookie. I say Zebra, sorry, Tiger stripe. I love this. It looks good. I like the black. It puts the focus on the card, in my opinion, because it's like your eyes narrow into the card. Beckett, I think, does a good job. Like the Beckett's got the clear and it doesn't have a lot of color. It doesn't take away. Arena Club, same thing. Arena Club does it. But honestly, with PSA, that red, in my opinion, clashes. And I'm not a designer. I have done design stuff. The red clashes with a lot of stuff. And unless it's like, I don't know, an MJ Bulls card, again, a flipping, blah, blah, blah. I like to display the cards I want to get graded, slabbed up. It's like, honestly, it's like preserving that card, in my opinion. I love the way it looks in there. I want it to be shown off and be the focus. And I feel like that black narrows it in on there. Number 4, it has got SGC has the best customer service out of all the grading companies. And I've contacted PSA. I've worked with them on stuff. I'm right now going through a card I bought on Fanatics Collect as a Kobe autograph. And once I got it in, did some searching on PSA, did some research, and sent it to some people I trust. I think it might not be authentic, even though it's slabbed by PSA. And so I reached out to Fanatics. They were like, well, PSA slabbed it. And I was like, okay, thanks, Fanatics. If Fanatics, by the way, thanks for sponsoring. I'm just kidding. They're not sponsoring this. And PSA, I'm now going through the process of trying to get it certified. And it's been a long process versus like, hey, it's in our slab. Let's figure it out. Like, I just like SGC. It feels like every time you have an issue with them, they're going to do what they think is the right thing to do, not the beneficial thing for them. I'll give an example. My LCS, Game Day. They're great. Love them. They had some cards they sent in. It was their cards, some customers' cards. And I think it actually, I don't know where it messed up in the process, but it got shipped to the wrong person after they were graded. And he contacted SGC and they were like, we're so sorry. We're going to try to find it. They reached out. They couldn't get a hold of the person. And they just said, hey, we'll pay you the full market value of everything you had. Like they went in, not just like, oh, this is what it was worth when you sent it in. Like they were going to pay everything that it was worth. Like he gets his money, his customers get their money as if they went and sold it. Now, granted, I know that would be frustrating for me as a collector. I have cards that I want to keep. Like if I have legacies or this credential set I'm working on, there's not a ton out there. So I don't want it to disappear into the ether. I want that card. And then now I have to go find that card again. I get that where it's frustrating, but also getting the full comps amount back on your card at the if that's all you can do and you can't get the card, that's the next best thing. And he actually, the way they did it, I don't know if this is how they do it every time, but if he did that, if he accepted that money, then if the cards ever showed back up, like essentially, I don't know what SGC would do with them, if they would sell them. I don't know what they would do. I don't know if they'd give it to him. I have no clue. But essentially, he would have to sign off saying, like, I'll take the money. Those cards are no longer mine, even if they come back. And I don't know what they would do after. All right. Now, he said, you know what? I'm just going to hold out. And he waited. And he had to wait months. And he didn't sign. He didn't take any money. He was like, I'll hold out and wait. Finally, that person sent it back. Thank goodness. They sent those cards back. And then SGC immediately sent them to him. So it got worked out in the end, but SGC was willing to have their back if something went down, which I highly respect because there's so many companies that take that bottom dollar over a customer, and I don't appreciate that. And number 5, and one of the big reasons with this third-party, hold up, 4 of them, third-party system that we pay money to rate our cards, and then we buy them based on that rating. They, in my opinion, are the best company at grading cards. I'm not saying they don't make mistakes. I think they are more consistent with cards. And again, I'm not a professional. I collect and grade and all this stuff with cards. I try to inspect and look at all these things. I feel like they do a better job. I have heard so many stories. It's happened to me. You send in an order PSA and it's like, oh, cool. There's like 80% PSA 8s. It's like the grader had a bad day. Like, I'm like, why are these all 8s when they look perfect? I've also sent in cards that I'm like, this has got a bad corner. I can see the bad corner. And it came back a 10. I'm probably make a whole episode on this. PSA just changed their centering stuff. It went from like 60-40 to 55-45. I feel like SGC is more accurate in grading cards. I think they do a better job. Now, the problem that makes is when you have a 9.5 or an 8.5, you have a 0.5 of something. While it's a more accurate grade, there are less of those. You're narrowing in and being more specific. So if you're trying to look up comps to sell it or see the value, with there not being as many, it just lowers that amount. I've said that before. One of the issues I think some people have with SGC is they do grade the second most amount of cards, but they don't grade. It's like 20% of what PSA is currently grading. So PSA grades more cards. That means there's more comps. They can verify sales. With SGC, there's not as many comps. And so it hurts it when people want to go in and buy it. Less people are going in to bid on it. And so it maybe even lowers the value of some of those cards sometimes if you throw it on bids because people don't have a comp to look at. Like I do the same thing. Do you guys do this? When you go in and you want to bid on a card, you may be willing to spend up $200 for it, but then you go in and look at comps, like, oh, it's only worth $80. Now you don't want to spend $200 because you feel like like, even though 2 minutes ago you would have spent $200 because you want that card so bad, you're not wanting to spend more than $80 because you saw that's what it sold for. It's like, it's in our mind to where it's like, we don't want to be, yes, we want the cards we want, but we also don't want to get ripped off. And so I think that hurts SGC with some of the pricing stuff because it's just less out there. Now, do I want them to change that? No more SGC 9.5s, 9 or 10. No, because it's not as accurate of a grade. And yes, I understand that makes the 9.5 value harder to determine, but I think I'm always going to lean towards, I want these companies to do their job better. And I feel like SGC does the job of grading better. I'll give you a personal story real quick. And I think I've told this before. So I was at the Dallas Card Show and I was talking to a guy, his name's Jeremy. He's an awesome dude. Done deals with him before. And I was trying to buy a Michael Jordan, 96 Jordan Flair Row Zero. Been searching for this car for a year and a half. Couldn't find it. Couldn't find the National. He had one and he had it like $800. And I was looking up comps because that was a little higher, some raw comps. And then there was an SGC 8.5 that went through, which had no other comps because, you know, it was an 8.5, it was very specific. And I was talking about that and we started chatting about SGC. And he is mainly PSA. Like almost everything out on his table is PSA because he grades and sells. It's his main thing. And that's why he had PSA. And so I'm sitting there and we're just chatting about it. And I was like, yeah, man, this is an SGC. And he's like, well, SGC, you know, because he's more done deals with PSA pricing. And he goes, there's no, like, I don't know of any, you know, MJ, like serious MJ collectors who are SGC. And I'm like, well, you're looking at one. I'm SGC. And I actually know a bunch of people that love SGC that collect Michael Jordan. But I was like, well, you're looking at one. And I was like, what do you not like about SGC? I was trying to because I love to get people's opinion. I'm not trying to convince them. I'm just like, sometimes I try to convince people. That's what this whole episode's about. I'm not just kidding. I'm not trying to convince you of anything. I'm just telling you why I love them. And I was like, hey man, I was like, what are your thoughts? Like, what do you think about SGC? And this is a direct quote. I'm not paraphrasing this. I'm not taking about it. 100%. I can picture him saying this in my mind right now. He said, and I quote, you know, I want to do SGC more. He said, and I feel like SGC is better at grading cards than PSA, but I do PSA because more people are comfortable with it. He, and I direct quote, said, SGC is better at grading cards. That is what we're paying these people to do, is grade cards. He just told me, someone who just uses PSA, that this other company's better at the thing he's paying PSA to. I just spit because I'm sorry, I'm so passionate about this. Like, it's just so crazy to me. He thinks they're better at it, but that's not why he's in it. He's in it for a different reason, which is totally cool. People can be in it. They can be in to sell, make money. I get that, okay? But I think he's right. I think SGC is the best company I've seen at the job of grading cards. Not perfect, but much more consistent on a higher scale. And I've done that before. I've made episodes where I literally try to guess the card grades and then send them in. And I'm not an expert. I'm not an SGC grader, and I was off on a couple, but I missed stuff every now and then. Just missed a Caitlin Clark rookie. I didn't even see. There was like a crease in it. I didn't see it. They saw it. Got a 5. But not fun. Okay? So that's my thoughts. Those are my 5 reasons. I would love to know your reasons. What's your favorite grading company? You leave it in the comments on YouTube or Spotify. What's your favorite grading company and why? I would love to know. You don't have to give 5 points. You give 1. You give whatever. And it could be, I like this company because I make more money, or this company because more people will buy it, or this company because of blank. It's your cards. Do what you want. It's your opinion. No hate towards anybody else. And if you're like, well, you just said this, this, and this. I just think one of them's better. PSA is way better at grading cards than I am. Beckett's way better at grading cards than I am. Arena Club's better at grading cards than I am. But I think SGC is the best at grading cards, and they are also better than I am. So let me know what you think. Thank you guys for listening. Like, subscribe, follow, give you a rating. Ratings would help. You know, just we're just a new podcast trying to find its way in the world, on the World Wide Web. If you want to go in and rate us on Apple or Spotify, that's helpful. YouTube, if you're on YouTube, what's up, my boy? Like, subscribe, that's always fun. Share it, that always helps. If you want to share it, like I saw Adam Gray, one of the best sports card creators on the market. He's awesome. You know, he's got a basketball card fanatic podcast. I always say it wrong. It's not that 27 guy. It's either the 27 guy or that 20. Just search 27 guy. It's him. Okay, he's awesome, and follow him. He's way better than me. But I don't know why I brought his name. Why did I bring his name up? Oh, he was saying on an Instagram story, he was like, if you see a creator that you like, share their stuff. Like, to go tell them, hey, good job. Like, help them with the algorithm. So you don't have to do that for me. I'm just saying, like, do that for any creator you like, not just me. Do this for me because I'm selfish, but also anybody else you like, go on and share their stuff, promote them. Like, this is a lot of work. And like, I got paid $0 for this. I'll make like 10 cents on YouTube ads. Like, that's fine. It's not the main reason I do it. I do it because I like talking and I wanted an avenue beyond 1 minute shorts to be able to talk about cards and things that are happening in cards. So would I like to make money with it? Yes. So I can buy more of these beautiful quadrilaterals we all love. So thank you guys for listening. Y'all be good, stay sweet, and never stop collecting. Sports cards are dope. So are you. Later. Bye.